I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Well, 5 months ago, Emily died. We were together for 12 years. And in her memorial service, or in her celebration of life, right here, someone came to me and said, Blaine, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason? Really? Because I'm not good enough? Because I didn't love enough? Do I have something to learn from her death? Have you ever had someone say to you after a loss or tragedy, everything happens for a reason? I felt like a door slamming on my heart. You know, I nodded. I didn't say anything. I know that the person was well-intended and tried to comfort me, but I just wanted permission to grieve. And this person instead handed me a spiritual Band-Aid, right? To try and fix or cover up an uncomfortable emotion, right? Really? My girlfriend is dead? And you're telling me that it's for some cosmic reason? Can't I just be sad about it? That experience taught me really something profound. You know, we live in a culture that is terrified of emotions, right? We become masters of minimizing, of moving past our feelings as fast as possible. Don't cry. How many times have we heard in Unity, stay positive? It's not that bad. Bullshit. You know, it's time that we stop covering this stuff up, taking what we think is the spiritual high road. These phrases, however well-intended, teach us that emotions are problems to be solved rather than messages to be heard. What if our feelings aren't problems to be heard? You know, what I've learned is that feelings don't just disappear because we ignore them. They wait. They linger. They speak through our bodies, our reactions. We become exhausted. What if our emotions aren't problems to solve, but they're sacred signals guiding us toward healing and wholeness? You know, most of us receives an education in emotional suppression starting in childhood. Think of the messages that you heard and maybe absorbed, not just from your family, but from teachers, coaches, movies, society at large. Don't be such a crybaby. I was told, boys, don't cry. I was told, calm down. You're too sensitive. Wipe that frown from your face. My step-parents used to say, Blaine, lift up your upper lip. Right? The underlying message is that emotions are inconvenient and dangerous. They make other people uncomfortable. They slow us down. They reveal our vulnerabilities. Better to keep them under wraps, to present a composed, positive face to the world. Really? So we've developed coping mechanisms. We learn to manage our emotions, controlling how we express them, performing okayness, even when we're not okay. We learn to minimize what we feel. Oh, it could be worse, you know. Or other people have it harder. We learn to move past difficult feelings as quickly as possible, rushing to solutions, forcing gratitude, and engaging in what I call spiritual bypassing, where we use spiritual concepts to avoid dealing with painful emotions. But here's the things. These strategies were really taught to us by people who loved us and wanted to protect us. They didn't mean to harm us. But this cost of this emotional management has been enormous, right? When we suppress our feelings, we lose connection with our inner wisdom, right? Because we're not being real. We can't hear our intuition because we're too busy talking ourselves out of how we feel. We struggle to be authentic in our relationships, and so other people only know what they see of us and not the truth. We were taught that feeling is actually a form of healing instead, we would be able to be in them and to use them to embrace our humanity, to be the essence and the truth of who we are. There's an interesting book that came out some time ago by Bessel van der Kolk, who titled "The Body Keeps Score." So what happens when we suppress our emotions, when we push them down? Her research is clear she spent decades studying how trauma suppressed emotions and we hold them in our bodies, right? When we don't allow ourselves to feel and process emotions, they don't go away. They get stored in our nervous system, our muscles, our tissues, our organs. This is why chronic tension often lives in our shoulders and our neck. Why our stomachs churn with anxiety. Why unexplained pain shows up in our bodies. The emotions we won't feel consciously begin to speak through our physical symptoms. Think of it like a pressure cooker, right? When we bottle up our feelings, pressure builds. And that pressure has to go somewhere. Sometimes it explodes in emotions that seem completely out of proportion to the situation. Ever notice? Right? We snap at a loved one over something small because we've been suppressing the bigger feelings. Sometimes it leaks out as depression or anxiety. Sometimes it shows up in numbness, where we can't feel much of anything we're experiencing. The truth is, the more we try to control our emotions, the more they control us. I love what Carl Jung said. He said, what you resist not only persists, but it will grow in size. Right? The anger we refuse to acknowledge doesn't go away. It grows stronger in the shadows. The grief we don't face doesn't dissolve. It waits for us. We cannot think our way out of our feelings. We can only feel our way through them. Emotions are sacred signals to us. They're signal telling us to wake up, to pay attention. My feelings are sacred signals. I honor the messages of my heart. Say that with me. My feelings are sacred signals. I honor the messages of my heart. In some spiritual circles, you've probably seen people here, there's this idea that if we're really spiritually connected, if we're really enlightened, if we're really evolved, we'll only experience high vibration emotions like joy and peace. Anything else, anger, sadness, fear, indicates that you're doing it all wrong. I've seen people in this room reflect those kinds of thoughts to me, right? And those were things that were common in New Thought in its foundational period, right? But as we have developed, as science has developed, we're finding that a lot of that it's BS, right? It feels good sometimes to tell somebody, well, you're not so enlightened. You know, I'm the enlightened one. I don't ever get sad or I never get depressed. I always got a happy face, right? When you become enlightened, you'll be like me, right? Yeah. But think about Jesus, right? The figure at the heart of Christianity, often called the Christ, which means the enlightened one or the anointed one, Jesus wept at Lazarus' tomb. He overturned the tables in righteous anger at the temple. He felt anguish at the Garden of Gethsemane. If Jesus himself experienced the full spectrum of human emotion, then can't we be okay doing so? Unless we think we're better than Jesus. No, Jesus. Jesus would never cry. I always wanted to say it that way. All emotions are part of the human experience, right? We're incarnated to have these feelings. The key is not to transcend them, it's to feel them, right? And not be ruled by them, right? There's a huge or profound difference between feeling angry and acting out in anger, right? Between feeling grief and drowning in it. When we stop seeing emotions as problems and see them as messengers, everything changes. Each emotion that we have carries information. Anger often tells us that a boundary has been violated or a need isn't met. It's a call to action, a signal that something needs to change, right? Sadness and grief tell us that we've experienced loss. They call upon us to honor what mattered and to find ways to be comforted. Fear alerts us to a perceived threat, right? It asks us to assess, is what's happening real? Is this danger real? Do I need to protect myself? Even shame, perhaps one of the most uncomfortable emotions, signals a disconnection from our sense of worth. It's a call to reconnect with self-compassion. It's interesting. Our emotional guidance system is actually faster and wiser than our thinking mind. Right? Have you ever had a gut feeling about something? And that's your emotional wisdom speaking before your rational mind can kick in. So when we suppress emotions, we dull this intuition. We lose access to one of the most important sources of guidance, our intuition. Our feelings aren't interruptions on our spiritual path. They are the path. We'll say that again. Our feelings aren't interruptions to our spiritual path. They are the path. Because they're saying, pay attention. There's something going on here. Listen. Our feelings aren't interruptions to our spiritual path. They are the path. Let's say it together, the affirmation. My feelings are sacred signals. I honor the messages of my heart. So, how do we cultivate the courage to feel? Well, I've got some ideas. First, we learn to stay present to our feelings without rushing to get past them, right? When you feel angry, when you feel sad, when you feel mad, when you feel disturbed, feel it. So often we think that they're bad, so we try and push our feelings away. But we want to listen to them. We want to feel them, right? They're not a problem to solve. Just be with it. Let yourself feel it. You know, when a difficult emotion arises, we can say to ourselves, I'm feeling angry right now. And that's okay, right? It's okay to feel angry, isn't it? It is. And they go, wow, isn't that interesting? I'm feeling angry. Wow. I'm feeling sad. And not to have to make it go away. I've been feeling a lot of grief. And my instinct has been, I want to get past this as fast as possible, right? But if I do that, it's going to show up somewhere else, rather than just feeling it and being with it. Feelings are normal. It's running away that gets us into trouble. And the second thing we can do is to practice feeling without judgment. kind of similar, but I'm feeling angry. Isn't that interesting? How about that? I feel really mad right now. And it's okay to be mad, right? It's okay. I don't have to do anything about it. I don't have to go out and find some ICE officer to kick, right? I'm okay. I can just feel it. If we can, when we feel anger, when we feel feelings that aren't comfortable, can we just say to ourselves, this is okay. It's okay because this is what I'm experiencing right now. When I'm feeling grief, it's like, wow, this is what I'm feeling right now. It's okay. Don't have to chase it away. And the interesting thing is that feelings come and go, right? They're like clouds in the sky. They come over, it's cloudy, it rains, and then it goes away. Next. I love this one. We often think that we are our feelings. And the truth is, we're not our feelings. Our feelings are just an emotion that is drifting through our consciousness. It's not who we are. You just feel it. Oh, interesting. And let it pass on through. So where does healing begin? Healing begins when we stop running from our emotions. And just recognize, okay, wow. And we can do this by starting small and being gentle. Just to notice the small feelings that you have, the ones that just kind of come through, and notice the small ones. Be gentle with yourself. Notice, I'm feeling frustrated right now, or I'm feeling angry right now. And that's okay. Carol has her hand on her heart. It's like, wow, it's okay to feel that way. Right? And then another thing we can do is to ask yourself, what am I feeling? So often we run away from that question and don't ask ourselves, what am I feeling right now? Wow. It's okay to feel, isn't it? Sometimes I like to do a body scan when something is up for me. When I feel angry, I've noticed sometimes I feel it in my neck. My back gets tense, right? And it's kind of interesting to go, okay, wow, it's interesting. My back is tense. My neck is tense. How interesting. And oftentimes, just by recognizing it, it goes away. And the next thing we can do is to engage in physical activity, be it yoga, or be it exercising, be it go for a walk, be it dancing, whatever it is, just to be with it, express it. Emotions are motion. Emotions are energy in motion. So when we feel an emotion, it is energy in motion. And oftentimes when we move that energy, it helps it to dissipate and helps us to, we know that exercise helps us find peace of mind, right? You know that. And the next thing we can do is to name the emotion. Wow, interesting. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling sad. I'm grieving. Wow, and that's okay, right? And sometimes we have resistance, and resistance, and this is new for a lot of people, right? Because we weren't taught to feel our emotions. So to let go of that resistance and just allow yourself to be with it. It's okay. It's interesting, when we feel our emotions, we're a lot less, it's a lot less, it reduces our desire to have to express it in some way, right? If you're in a situation and somebody makes you angry, if you can walk away from the situation from a second and go, wow, I'm feeling angry, I think I'd rather not yell at this person, right? Because I've discovered that doesn't always do any good. Have you noticed that? It kind of exacerbates it. But just to go away and maybe give yourself a hug and go, wow, I'm feeling angry right now. Okay, it's all right. And the next thing that I think we can do is to find people that can hold the space for you. I'm fortunate that I'm in a men's group, and I can share in my men's group what I'm feeling. I share a lot about the grief I'm experiencing. And if you've got really good friends and I suggest finding people who are not going to try and fix it, right? Oftentimes, all we need is somebody to listen, right? Somebody told me just the other day, I'm here with you, I'm listening to you, and I appreciate what you're feeling and the fact that you're sharing it with me. And you can be that friend to somebody else, right? So much of our conditioning is I want to fix this. I want to help you feel better, right? And the truth of it is, if I'm thinking I want to get you to feel better, what am I really doing? I want myself to feel better because you being in pain makes me feel hurt, right? And I don't want you to be hurting so it hurts me. So oftentimes we try and put a Band-Aid on somebody and say something like, Blaine, everything happens for a reason. Some things do, but a lot of things don't. And when we try and be the super spiritual person and make some kind of a judgment, we cause that person more pain than we do give them love. So find people that can hold that space for you and not try and fix you. And I'm one of those people. Come to me, call me. I love that. So why I'm doing this. So give me the chance. Call one of our prayer chaplains. Ask them to pray with you. Come and pray with them after the service today. So what it all comes down to is give yourself permission to feel, right? And I know it's going to be kind of scary, right? Because these feelings, we've been taught to repress them, to push them down. Be with them. You're going to be much more happier. I absolutely guarantee it. So this week, I invite you to notice an emotion. Maybe it's a small one. Maybe it's one when you're driving and somebody cuts you off and you feel angry. Let yourself feel that. And that's my challenge for this week. If you've done this before, pick something bigger. Right? And the idea is to pick larger ones so that we become practiced at experiencing, expressing our feelings. Trust this sacred work. You're not broken for feeling. You're not failing at spirituality when you cry or get angry or get afraid. You are courageously alive. You are bravely human. So I want to close with a blessing that I have for you today. May you have the courage to feel. May you trust that your emotions are sacred signals, not spiritual failures. May you know that you are held even in the midst of your difficult feelings. May you say yes to your full humanity and discover wholeness there. Wherever you are. Spirit is, love is, wholeness is. And so it is. Let's say our affirmation one more time. My feelings are sacred signals. I honor the messages of my heart. Now, let's just do a short meditation. I invite you to close your eyes and maybe put your hands on your heart. And to give yourself, to love yourself so much. To love yourself like a dear friend. To feel your feelings. To be with your feelings because they're a message to you. Telling you how amazing you are. How loved you are. How perfect you are. How beautiful you are. Breathing in, breathing out. And I invite you to bring your awareness back to this moment, to open your eyes, to know that you are bravely human. And so it is. Namaste. We're going to show how perfectly imperfect you are, and we're going to do the prayer for protection from memory. All right, you got that? And listen carefully to your neighbor, because if they get it wrong, we want to correct them, right? No, not so much. All right.
No being perfect.
All right. So together, let's affirm our prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. Thank you for being here today. Blessings to you watching on Facebook.
Where I live, there are rain.